Mercoledi di Ottobre. Happy first Wednesday of October. Father Richard Fragumeni here from the Shrine of Our Lady of Pompeii, wishing you greetings in this very important week. This past Sunday, we celebrated the solemnity of Our Lady of Pompeii. Her feast is on the 7th of October, but we celebrated it on Sunday because the 8th, the day after her festival, is the marathon here in Chicago, and we wanted to make sure that people were comfortable in driving and parking here in the neighborhood. And so we had a wonderful festival at both the 8:30 and the 11 o'clock Mass with our newly formed Schola, second Sunday of the month, Schola at the Shrine. A wonderful celebration of a quartet of singers that are part of our community now every second Sunday of the month, continuing through in November, the second Sunday of November, December, January, right through the summer months. We are so happy to have these wonderful singers chant us and engage us in some beautiful music written by Italian composers. And we sing in Italian to emphasize and to celebrate anew our own Italian heritage here at the Shrine of Our Lady of Pompeii. Brother David, an Augustinian from the Hyde Park community, is our guest conductor. Brother David has recently graduated with a master's degree in liturgical music conducting from Notre Dame University. And so we are honored and wonderfully happy, I am, to have such beautiful music continue in this program. We've celebrated music for so many years with our beautiful cantor Josie and Jim, our organist, and now we're supplementing that in that wonderful tradition, enlivening that on the second Sunday of every month. Consider joining us on the second Sunday of November. But not only do we celebrate the Feast of Our Lady of Pompeii this week, but we also have celebrated the Feast of the Little Flower, Therese of Lisieux, whose statue here represents her death, her glorious presence, the little flower promising the community that she would send a shower of roses after her death. And so it is a tradition to celebrate her we celebrated her as well this week. And you might wonder, why is this little French saint here at the Shrine of Our Lady of Pompeii? The little flower was French. I visited her grave and her convent in Lisieux in the southern part of France. Why is she here? Well, not only is she a very popular saint among all cultures and nationalities, but she finds herself at the Shrine of Our Lady of Pompeii because this church was dedicated in 1925, the same year that she was canonized. And I'm sure that the Italians wanted to honor her because of her wonderful story and her wonderful life, but also because she's canonized in the same year that we consecrated and dedicated this beautiful church. And today, the first Wednesday of October, is the feast of San Francesco d'Assisi. And we are so happy to have within our treasury of our shrine a beautiful relic of his body and his bones, and we will celebrate that tonight here at 6 o'clock on Wednesday the 4th. It's a special day for me because it was also my father's birthday, and he made a big deal out of it every year that he was born on the feast of San Francesco, even though his name was John, John Joseph. My father loved St. Francis, and he would have been actually 102 years old today. May he rest in peace. And I'd like to also celebrate and point out the wonderful statue of St. Francis that we have here. I call it St. Francis in the Loop of Mercy. It's a beautiful statue that you can see on your screen. He is there next to Christ crucified. And again, this statue was placed here in 1925 by the Italian community who loved St. Francis in Umbria. Perhaps you have been up there in Umbria to celebrate Francis. But this is a unique statue. Francis is actually next to the crucified Christ, and Christ has one arm down, reminiscent of the of the tradition of taking Christ off of the cross on Good Friday. Actually, I was there in Assisi when they did it. They took the nails off of the statue, and the statue came down, and then they laid the dead Christ out and carried him around the city. This statue is reminiscent of that, where one of the hands of Christ is freed, and it falls on the shoulder of St. Francis. And we call this the Loop of Mercy statue, thanks to Brother Michael Joseph, who is one of our Capuchin presiders, and we want to also salute his mom, because Michael Joseph and I have something in common. His mom's birthday is today as well. So happy birthday, Anne-Marie, on your birthday, and you have such a wonderful son, Michael Joseph, who coined the phrase, the Loop of Mercy, for that statue, as he spoke one Good Friday, Brother Michael Joseph, one Good Friday, to speak about this. And you see in the statue that Christ is either coming down off the cross and St. Francis is grabbing him, or the loop, or Christ is taking St. Francis and bringing him up on the cross with him so that he could be crucified with Christ. The Loop of Mercy is spoken, I think, by Brother Michael, because mercy is indeed that. It is the willingness of Christ to enter our chaos. Christ who suffers with us and enters our pain. The willingness of Christ to enter our chaos so that in the middle of our chaos, we know that we're not alone. Francis portrays this in the statue. Christ is in the middle of our chaos so that we know we're not alone in all of our chaos. And some of us have a lot of chaos these days. A lot of chaos in our world, in our lives, our families, our city, Chicago. And in the middle of the chaos, God enters, Christ enters, so that we know we're not alone. And knowing we're not alone, we're set free from fear. Emmanuel, Christ is with us. Because oftentimes when we're in chaos, we feel isolated and we feel alone and abandoned. But the statue of St. Francis is a celebration of the good news of that loop of mercy, the mercy of God who enters, Christ who enters the chaos so we're not alone, and then we're set free from fear. And then, because we're set free from fear, we're able then to enter into the chaos of others. Help taking them down from the cross. Help them in their sorrow, entering into the chaos of others so that we become the living presence of Christ, like St. Francis was, the living presence of Christ. And even he bore the wounds of the cross of Christ on his hands and his feet on his side, so that we can then enter into the chaos of others. And in entering the chaos of others, we then fulfill our destiny as Christians. We become the image and likeness of the crucified Christ, the image and likeness of the glorified Christ. So that statue of St. Francis is a celebration of that loop of mercy, that God who enters our chaos is the God who strengthens us to enter into the chaos of others. So is Francis taking Christ off the cross, or is Christ embracing Francis and receiving him in his chaos? Such is the loop of mercy. Such is what we celebrate on St. Francis Day. Such is another one of the great Italian saints who has filled the world in every religious tradition. So let's end with his prayer. Francis attributed to him is the prayer, Lord, make us all instruments of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I might not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to everlasting life. So, buona festa di San Francesco. Happy, wonderful Mercoledi Moment. Hopefully you can come to the shrine for the second Sunday of the month in November to rejoice in the beauty of this place. God bless you all, and rest in the peace of God's mercy.